Dharmesh, thanks so much for joining in. As I hear, this is the first time in office in the last few days.
That's right. I was
So
under the weather.
hopefully the market bottoms out as you've come back.
Hopefully from Monday we start seeing a recovery.
Yeah, but no, the question is just that. We know it's a global problem right now. How far reaching can this problem be?
See, as far as India is concerned, India is a little bit insulated from these issues because India benefits with lower oil prices, lower commodities, which is the key right now globally, which is the fear there. So one way India is insulated with these issues, but India has its own problems right now. Currently the fear of this whole RBI 150, what kind of NPAs the banking system will throw up when the results come up. I believe that fear is much more and which is impacting definitely the banking index in a big way, which in turn affects the Sensex on the Nifty. So I believe that problem should be over within 1 or 2 weeks. We know always we exaggerate in that sense. So last time I remember when I was with Nikunj doing an interview in June or July, somewhere on that time, and RBI had not given such a great view with regards to cutting the interest rates, and everybody had panicked. And eventually what you saw was RBI cut interest rates very aggressively, and now nobody discusses that part.
Sure.
So maybe you are passing through that phase that in the next 2 to 3 months, nobody discusses this 150 list. So maybe this just goes as a phase.
Sure.
But obviously people will look for is what government does to step into this crisis and go ahead with the execution on the reform process. I believe that will be very, very important.
No, but the other key thing is, Dharmesh, it's not just related to one particular sector right now, right? I mean, globally there is a problem. We've seen the currency today tumble to 67.5. It was resilient until now, and it's not doing that. And flows are an issue. They are not just moving out of banks. They are moving out lock, stock, barrel, at least the foreign clients. So what's your view there? Because that money probably may not come back in a hurry.
Well, the foreign money has been going out since last 1 year, right? But India is comparatively very well to the other emerging markets. So we had a very strong domestic money coming into the markets. So I think it's not about foreign money alone. It's about more of confidence. Whether we are on the reform process, whether execution is happening, the confidence of Indian corporates is it very high? Right now, that's not the case.
So are you saying that if indeed our things turn out to be okay, once this bank scare, etc. goes away, and if earnings do come back Q1 next quarter onwards, even if globally things are a bit shaky, would you be recommending our markets at those levels as well? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what are client conversations currently.
Well, as people say, India is right now got the best opportunity. So if they perform or if they deliver what they're promising, India will definitely stand out amongst all and take the advantage of, the positioning of the global leader, in this case in the emerging markets leadership, which is only India today. So I'm not too bearish on that aspect. We see in February you will start hearing things on budget. So suddenly the whole momentum from the global crisis will move to what's happening in the budget. And maybe this is forgotten, which is I'm hoping and wishing for. But yes, I'm reasonably confident that people will start moving to the real issues than this whole global panic. And if at all India starts delivering on that front, India stands a good chance of shining out.
And I'm certain 1 month from now we on TV will be talking about the budget for sure. Yeah, so that is going to happen. Now let me point towards some specifics. You mentioned banks as the pain point. I wish I could ask you about private banks, one particular private bank, but I don't want to do that. My question is broadly that because there's the fear of this unknown, how long can it last? Till what levels can it take valuations down to? Because right now, if you look at it, certain private banks, including Axis, ICICI and a few others, or almost all of the PSU banks, are trading at fresh lows and lows which people didn't anticipate about a month and a half ago.
But then those are the great opportunities to buy into for a long-term investment.
You believe that?
Absolutely, because a few years back also, if you look at it, where were the private banks quoting at? They were at their historical lows, and then after that people made almost 3 to 4 beggar out of them. So I would say this is a great opportunity because the underlying economy and the underlying current for India is very, very powerful. So don't forget that we are not in a crisis mode in India, except this few NPA issues which has been addressed right now. So I think so if the fear is not as bad as what people think, or when the results come out, then obviously you might see some correction happening in those names. But I would definitely buying in those dips when this kind of stocks are coming at these valuations because there are issues, they're coming at this price. So maybe a lot of that is already in the price.
Okay. The other question then is, if you take banks, which is about 25, 30, give or take a few percentage points here and there, take IT out, which is another 15 to 20. So you have 45% of the index weightage out. What about the others? Where is it that you would be comfortable telling your clients to put in money? I'm guessing your conversation right now is that you would be advising people to buy the pain. Where would you advise people to park the money?
Well, Reliance has been a classic outstander in this kind of fall. And that has done very well. And before a few months, nobody wanted to touch Reliance. So things change very fast.
Yeah.
I think so people have to bet on blue chips where business models are good, where you believe the business will survive this whole turmoil and eventually turn out to be much more stronger.
Right.
So I would still believe that I'll go buy into those pain points of banks and those kind of names where you are actually getting the great valuation.
Okay.
I'll be brave enough right now to go and buy them.
Oh, okay, awesome. So that's a soundbite that I'll play. The other thing is the fabric changed a bit, Dharmesh? What I'm trying to ask is about 6 months ago or 3 months ago, whenever we have done an interaction, we'll do one on the budget day as well, by the way, I'm sure. The conversation was go out. So for you, for example, you used to like media a lot.
Right.
There are no index representations there.
Right.
They are mid-cap names.
Right.
Go out and buy infrastructure and construction, barring one or two. It's largely a mid-cap and a broader end kind of sector.
Right.
And that's where all the opportunities were. But now with the large caps falling the way they are, is the fabric right now tilted more towards, for the immediate term, stick only to the large caps, even if the mid caps are available and even if mid caps have fallen?
The mid caps have been crashed. So if you look at it, the correction mid cap has been quite steep in the last few
Of late, yes.
Of late, yes. But as there is a global nervousness and global weakness, people want to play defensive. So they want to have stocks which you can exit easily.
Right.
So that is when people go and buy into large caps, which is happening right now.
Yeah.
So I would say for the time of the volatility is around, people will look into large caps, especially the foreigners. But when things are okay and people again get the confidence back on India, everyone will start jumping to mid caps. And also don't forget, there's not a lot of paper supply around.
Yes.
So you're not seeing a lot of paper flow which is going to hit the market, which is going to scare everyone.
Okay.
So clearly the one benefit India has, there's no paper supply, no overhang.
Okay.
So that way it's literally insulated from that risk also.
Okay. You mentioned Reliance as one that you would go at. What about PSU banks? Where do you find favor? Is it with the largest SBI, or would you go down the train as well, because those would be available between 0.5 to 0.75 price to adjusted book?
Well, it will be SBI largely, but obviously I'll still want to be in the private banks and SBI as a whole. I don't need to be in any other space, because the fear there is much more, and we don't even know what's happening there. At least in private sector banks, you've got a very strong retail push, which is also insulating some part of the bank's balance sheet.
Right.
So clearly I will rather go and buy more on the private banks and maybe one or two large cap PSU banks, but not more than that.
Okay. And lastly, last couple of questions, actually last question, then we'll go on to ring the bell as well, Dharmesh. Sure. Having said that, so we've taken out Reliance, I don't know, even IT, everybody knows what the stocks are doing, and banking is out of the way. What else stands out for you? Because there has been a correction in oil and gas, for example, barring a Maruti, auto is reeling under pressure as well, at least the four-wheeler space. Where else do you find favor?
I think so eventually in the year 2016, calendar year 2016, you will see some thrust coming back to infra and power.
Okay.
So as a long-term bet, not an immediate short-term bet, I would definitely bet on few of those names. All the stock specifics, we have to go and investigate which are the good names who are going to benefit from the policies which will be hopefully be coming through in the next 3 to 6 months, and bet on those kind of names. So I would not be able to give you specific names, but yes, there will be some part of my portfolio going to those kind of assets, because clearly the government intention is to kickstart this whole economy, and it can't happen unless until you kickstart the whole infrastructure and power reforms.
Okay.
So I will be going and betting on those names, and media I still love it, especially the digital mode. So anything which is related to digital India, I will be definitely buying into that.
One last question, and the most difficult of them all. 7,000 or 8,000, what comes first?
Well, I wish I could guess the Sensex and Nifties. I never try a guess on this kind of thing.
What I meant to ask was, do you think there will be more pain before?
I'm more bullish than bearish. That's what I can say.
You're more bullish. But do you think the markets could show more pain before the gains come in?
Anybody's guess.
Anybody's guess.
Because this is not an India issue right now. It's a global issue.
Yeah.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.